Characteristics of digital ICs: power supply requirements, propagation delay, noise margin, noise immunity, fan in, fan out, power dissipation, operating temperature, and finally input output, and flexibility available. Now define the propagation delay. It is defined as the time taken by a signal to propagate from input to output when the input signal changes, or it is the time interval between a change in input state and the resulting change in the output state of an IC. Next, noise immunity. The noise immunity of a logic circuit refers to the circuit's ability to tolerate noise without causing spurious changes in the output voltage. Noise margin. It is the maximum external noise voltage that can be added to an input signal so that it does not cause an undesirable change in the circuit output. Or a quantitative measure of noise immunity is called noise margin. Next, fan in. The maximum number of inputs that can be connected to a logic circuit is called fan in. Fan out. The fan out of a logic circuit is defined as the maximum number of outputs the circuit may have and still operate properly. The fan out is also called as a loading factor. Next, power dissipation. The power taken by a logic gate during its operation is called power dissipation, and this power dissipation is given by PD is equal to VCC into IC, where PD is equal to power dissipation of the gate, VCC is equal to DC supply voltage, IC is equal to average supply current. Next, figure of merit. It is defined as the product of a propagation delay to power dissipation, and it is measured in joules per second. Next, I am explain about the TTL NAND gate with Tatum pole output. The circuit diagram of the TTL NAND gate with the Tatum pole output as shown in figure. It contains 4 different transistors like Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. Here the transistor Q1 is a multiple emitter transistor for the inputs A and B. The output transistor Q3, Q4 and diode D form a Tatum pole arrangement. So the purpose of the Tatum pole arrangement is it is used to reduce propagation delay and to increase the output current capability of the circuit. Next, operation of the Tatum pole output circuit. It contains two different cases. One is if A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0, or A is equal to B is equal to 0. If any of the two inputs or both inputs are low, then the base to emitter junction of Q1 is a forward biased and its base to collector junction is a reverse biased. Therefore, there is a current through R1 and the base to emitter junction of Q1 transistor, and it is enter into the transistor Q2 to the low input. Therefore, there is no current into the base of Q2 and hence Q2 is in off mode. The emitter of Q2 is at ground potential, so it keeping Q4 into off mode. The collector of Q2 is high and it turns Q3 into saturation. Therefore, the output is high levels. Case 2, if A is equal to B is equal to 1, if both inputs are high, the base to emitter junction of Q1 is reverse biased and its base to collector junction is forward biased. So it permits current through R1 and base to collector junction of Q1 into base of Q2. Therefore, the transistor Q2 is turned on. So, as a result, Q4 is turned on by the transistor Q2, and producing a low output which is nearby ground potential. At the same time, the collector of Q2 is sufficiently at low voltage level and to keep Q3 into off position. In the high output state, Q3 is on and Q4 is off. In the low output state, Q3 is off and Q4 is on, but Q3 and Q4 are never simultaneously on. Therefore, the purpose of diode D is it does not allow the base to emitter junction of Q3 and to be forward biased, and thus ensures that Q3 remains off when Q4 is on.